Growing up, I always loved writing poetry. I liked reading poetry. From the time I was in first grade, I dreamed about being a famous poet. I got my bachelor's degree in English in 2011 and realized that nobody wanted to pay me to be a poet, that was a little bit possibly unrealistic. So I was kind of at a strange point in my life where I needed to have a job. I stopped writing pretty much and lost focus on what I wanted to do, and kind of threw myself into my work a little bit, but just hit a really dark point after college, especially, where I felt very far away from God. I was let go and I felt like I was just hitting rock bottom, and I took a home pregnancy test and it was positive, and I was suddenly without health insurance. And also I was without a home at that time. I had been evicted from my apartment a few months previous to that, and I was just at a point where I felt so alone and I felt so hopeless. The women there prayed with me and helped me feel like this pregnancy could be a huge blessing. And they made an appointment for an ultrasound, and I think it was like 2 weeks after that was in January of 2015, I got to see my baby for the first time. And that totally changed everything. At that point, I was still lost. I was still in Phoenix and still without a job and still without a home. And I started writing again. First sentence is in January 2015, and it says, "I seem to have lost myself, so I will return to the best home I have, writing." And that is heavy because I didn't have a home at the time. I got started working at Mission of Hope, and my boss at the time, who became my mentor and really my family, Martin Dwyer, he said, "You need to go to Bridgehaven." And so Betty Criddle took me to Bridgehaven, and I was at such a sensitive time in my life. I was the only person that I knew that was pregnant, and I felt so alone before I walked through these doors. When the class actually started, it was amazing how it just took away all feelings of loneliness. I was suddenly in a room with all these other pregnant girls, and I wasn't the only person that I knew that was pregnant. And around that same time, Martin was trying to work with me on coming back to God and understanding Scripture. And the scripture that he used with me most often was Psalm 46:10. And he used it with me most often because he could tell that it was such a huge challenge for me to be still. I was used to taking matters into my own hands all of the time and feeling all of that pressure to try to solve life. And he just consistently was offering up, "Be still and know that I'm God. Just be still. Every time you feel upset, be still." After the first class, we closed in prayer, and we were leaving, and I passed by that, and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. When I was a little girl, I used to play in my grandparents' oats field on their farm all the time. I could play out there for hours by myself and just imagine and play out there. And my dad told me one time when I was little, if he ever won the lottery, he would buy me an oats field. And Avina means child of the oats, because I think she's much better than winning the lottery. Today I work at Bridgehaven in the prevention department, which is amazing for me. It's so mutually helpful for the people that I'm talking to and for myself as well to explain to them how important it is to make good choices, and how, I don't know, probably my favorite thing to do is to go out to Four Oaks and talk to those kids who are in such a lost, hopeless place that reminds me so much of myself before I met God again. Like, I just, I'm so grateful to be able to work in a place where I can have my Bible open on my desk, and I can share the love of Christ with people, and just because that's what saved me.